Naruto, copy everything from the Uzumaki Clan. Episode 41, Sharingan? Looking at the Sharingan in Xingyu's eyes, everyone was shocked, including the vortex light. What shocked the swirling light was not that Xingyu had a riding wheel eye, but that Staryu's riding wheel eye was a three-hook jade riding wheel eye. Xingyu, why do you have a chakra eye? Tsunade asked in shock. Xingyu scratched his hair, and then said, this is not something that can be clearly explained in 1 or 2 sentences. Let's solve these guys first. Kushina, Mikoto, you two stay away. Xingyu said to the two of them, the weakest enemies are all shinobu, and Kushina and Mikoto can't help at all. Looking at Hashiyu's serious expression, Mikoto and Kushina nodded and retreated back. Vortex light, let me send you away from this world full of pain, no need to thank me, after all, we are of the same race. Xingyu stared at the vortex light, and the eyes of the three-hook jade riding wheel turned rapidly. Don't look into his eyes, be careful with the chakra eye illusion. Kato shouted. However, Xingyu did not use illusion, and the 3 pitch-black gouged jade were connected, and the kaleidoscope riding wheel eye opened. Huangquan Hirasaka, a pitch-black space door opened in front of Xingyu. Well, it was said that it was a space door, but it actually looked like a pitch-black hole. Then Xingyu pulled out the Kusanagi sword and stabbed it into the space door. Poof. Vortex light looked at the blade that penetrated his heart from behind, and the light in his pupils began to dissipate, with a hint of unwillingness on his face. Xingyu pulled the Kusanagi sword out of the space door, and the vortex light standing opposite Star Feather fell, and there was also a pitch-black space door behind him. Huangquan Hirasaka opened a spatial passage from the front of the Star Feather to the back of the vortex light. The Kusanagi sword pierced by Star Feather came out of the space door behind the vortex light and pierced the heart of the vortex light. Huangquan is better than Ryasaka's technique not only to dodge attacks and escape, but also to attack and sneak attack. The vortex light was killed in seconds, and Kato, who saw it, was extremely shocked, and the members of the other 4 rude organizations immediately looked at Xingyu vigilantly. What kind of pupil technique are you? Kato felt bad at this time. Originally they only valued Tsunade, but who would have thought that this little devil was so powerful? Kaleidoscope Sharingan? Tsunade was even more shocked than just now knowing that Hashiha had a chakra eye. It was not uncommon to write chakra eyes. After all, now Uchiha has not yet extinguished, but kaleidoscope chakra eyes are rare. Tsunade knows only Uchiha Madara has. It seems to work well. Xingyu flicked the Kusanagi sword lightly, and the blood on the blade flung out, and there was no trace of blood left. Fire escape, how dragon fire art. Wind escape, big breakthrough. One of the elite of the rude organization, Shangnan, unleashed the dragon fire technique, and the flames condensed into the shape of a dragon and struck towards Xingyu. And the ninja standing next to him immediately used the wind escape, and the fire took advantage of the wind, and suddenly became a little more powerful. Tsunade had a hint of caution in her eyes. Even if she was hit, her life would be in danger. After all, the bodies of ninjas, except for those ninjas of physical type, are relatively fragile. Although Tsunade's physical skills are more powerful, but it is all relying on strange force techniques. If there is no strange force technique, Tsunade's physical skills can only be said to be average. Tsunade is actually a medical ninja. In the face of such an attack, Tsunade also had to dodge. After Tsunade retreated, he found Hashiha standing there motionless, as if he was frightened and stupid, and he was immediately anxious. Xingyu, what are you doing? Quickly dodge. Tsunade wanted to go over and rescue Hashiba, but it was too late, and the fire dragon was already approaching Hashiha. You cooperate very well, let you taste the power of this ninjutsu for yourselves. Hoshiyu used Huangquan Hirasaka again, and a pitch-black space door appeared in front of him, and the fire dragon that flew over crashed into the space door and disappeared. Then, above Kato's head, another pitch-black space door opened, and the fire dragon fiercely attacked them. The distance was too close, plus there was no defense, 2 dead and 3 injured in an instant. Kato survived by luck, but he had extensive burns on his body, his hair was burned, and his face was disfigured. The power is really strong. Originally B-level ninjutsu, coupled with the strengthening of Feng Duan, the power should be comparable to A-level ninjutsu. Xingyu looked at the power caused by the fire dragon and commented on the foot. Bang! Tsunade's fist slammed on Hashiha's head, glaring at him viciously. Do you kid want to scare me to death? Tsunade was still puzzled, angrily wanting to knock again, but was quickly dodged by Hoshiyu. Isn't it okay with me? Star Feather. Joshinai suddenly pounced on Xingyu, hugging him with tears in his eyes. Not only Tsunade was frightened just now, but Joshinai was also frightened. Xingyu, are you okay? Mikoto quickly checked Hashiha up and down to see if he was injured. I'm fine, I haven't lost even a single hair. Tsunade, hurry up, they have to run. Hashiha reminded Tsunade that Kato, who survived, and the other 2 elite shinobu wanted to escape. The 2 who died before, including Uzumaki Hikaru, were both upper shinobi, and these 2 and Kato were both elite upper shinobi, and they were experienced enough to survive that sudden attack. However, perhaps knowing that he was not an opponent, Kato and the elite shinobu of the other 2 rude organizations were now going to run away. Tsunade looked over at the 3 guys, his face was grim. He wanted to run? Which is so easy. If it weren't for Xingyu's strength being strong enough, it might be them who died. Tsunade himself, but he can't beat 3 elite shinobi, plus the combination of 3 Sharingan. Even the combination of 3 elite shinobi is enough to surround and kill the current Tsunade. After all, the Tsunade at this time has not really grown. Moreover, if Kato is not recognized, he can make a sneak attack first, and he can definitely kill Tsunade steadily, without giving Tsunade a little way to live. Tuanzo came up with such a preparation, and it was already worthy of Tsunade. But Xingyu's strength is something that Tuanzo would not have expected, and Tuanzo may not have put Hashiyu, Joshinai, and Mikoto in his eyes at all, so this time Tuanzo planted 3 elite upper shinobi, plus 3 upper shinobi. This time Tuanzong lost a lot, especially Kato broke the sky. It should be a dark chess piece of Tuanzong. Tsunade rushed up and stopped one of the escaping elite Kamishinobu. Kato broke and ran separately with another escaped elite Kamishinobu, and Tsunade couldn't stop them all. 3 elites are like the escape of a dog who lost his family, which is also too shameful. Xingyu looked at the other 2 guys, and knew that he should make a move, otherwise he would let them run away. Huangquan Hirasaka. Xingyu instantly entered the space door and appeared directly behind one of the escaped elite Sharingan, and the sword light streaked through like a phantom, directly letting the other party know what is called cracking. Ugh, Joshinai shouted. Xingyu was a little bloody. Because Joshinai was holding Xingyu just now, he also followed Xingyu. Xingyu looked at the other party's corpse, and the blood flowed to the ground, and it was indeed a little bloody. In fact, Xingyu didn't want to make it so bloody, but the key was to cut people for the first time. The strength was not grasped well, and the Kusanagi sword was too sharp, so it would be like this. But this is an elite forbearance, so he hacked to death. It feels as simple as chopping vegetables. With space ninjutsu, coupled with Xingyu's lightning-fast knife technique, killing people is so unreasonable, especially in the case of abusing vegetables. It is simply a massacre. Episode 42. After killing that elite shinobu, Hashiha once again uses Huangazumi Hirazaka and returns to Mikoto through the space door. Mikoto was relieved to see Hashiwa and Kushina returning. Joshinai, what's wrong with you? Seeing that Joshinai's face was a little pale, Mikoto asked worriedly, could it be that Joshinai was injured? Kushina gave Hoshi a blank look, then shook her head at Mikoto. I'm fine, but I just saw some bloody scenes and felt a little uncomfortable. Xingyu, that Kato broke off, Mikoto said to Hashiha. Hoshiyu looked in the direction of Kato's escape. Although he was injured, the speed of the elite shinobu was still not slow. In the blink of an eye, it ran away. Run, some people will run back when they run, Xingyu said meaningfully. Then Hashiha looked at the elite shinobu who was fighting Tsunade. Tsunade has the full upper hand, but that elite shinobu is still relying on his combat experience and Tsunade to maneuver. It's too slow. Tsunade, let me help you. Instantaneous slash. Without using Huangquan Hirasaka, relying on his own speed, like a bolt of lightning, he instantly came to the side of that elite shinobu, and then the Kusanagi sword slashed out at a speed that Tsunade could not see. When Hoshiyu collected the knife, Tsunade came back to his senses, and then he saw that the elite shinobu fell down, with 8 more fatal knife marks on his body. Tsunade took a deep breath. It was less than a second just now. In this short period of less than a second, Xingyu actually cut out 8 swords. Do it cleanly, if like you, I have finished my meal, and you haven't finished fighting. Hoshiyu turned his head and said half-educated, half-pretending, to Tsunade. Tsunade was speechless at this time. She suspected that something was wrong with her eyes. Was it really the elite shinobu who was killed? What is elite shinobi? Those are all life and death trials, the top combat power of the major ninja villages. How easy it is to kill an elite upper ninja. But now in just a second, he was killed by Xingyu. And with the speed of Xingyu's shot, even she can't dodge it. Xingyu, are you a monster? Why is the strength so strong? Tsunade couldn't help but ask towards Hashiha. Monster? What are you talking about? I am a genius, and I am a genius of hard work, Xingyu said with a look of dissatisfaction. My talent is good, my efforts are 10 times that of others, and I have opened the hanging. Why can't I be so strong? Tsunade looked at Hoshiyu and said that what you said made sense. I was speechless, but what did you mean by opening the hanging? Kato broke. What about the other elite shinobu? Tsunade didn't want to know what Kai Hang was for the time being, and asked Hashiba about the other 2 guys. In addition, that elite shinobu is dead, and Kato is still on the run. Kato ran away? Tsunade's brow furrowed. I mean, he was still running away. I didn't say he ran away. Some people ran in front of me as they ran, Hashiha said as he used Hirasaka Huangazumi to open a pitch-black space door in front, while Kato ran straight out of it. Looking at Hashiha and Tsunade in front of him, Kato's burnt face was very confused. When Kato broke and fled, a pitch-black space door suddenly appeared in front of him. Because it was too close to him, Kato broke did not have time to stop, and ran inside at once, and then saw Hashiba and Tsunade. You are not very capable of running. Keep running, you can run away and count me as losing. Hoshiyu looked at Kato broken. There was Kagura heart eye locked on the target, and Huangquan Hirasaka, the ultimate space ninjutsu. Hoshiyu was afraid that Kato would break off. Kato was very difficult at this time, and his spiritual transformation technique could not be used here. It is estimated that as soon as it was used, it was killed, purely an act of giving people's heads. and this move is a move to hide and secretly attack. Forget it, I won't play with you anymore. Xingyu used a spiral pill to penetrate Kato's broken body, and Kato couldn't react at all during the process. Through this time, Xingyu understood that his strength was not pressured on the battle shadow-level masters, and the elite Sharingan could kill at will. Shadow-level masters can't kill elite Sharingan casually, but Xingyu can do it, and that's because Xingyu is too fast. Only fast and unbroken, indestructible, even if the shadow-level powerhouse. If he dares to be careless in the face of Xingyu, Xingyu may be able to seize the opportunity to kill the other party instantly. Hashiyu, how did you kill Kato? Tsunade looked at the spiral pill that was taken by Hashiyu, and opened a hole in his body, and Kato, who was already out of breath, couldn't help but say, "It's useless if you don't kill him and keep it. Do you still expect to rely on him to testify against Danzo? Save it, it's useless." Why? Tsunade really thought so, and she also wanted to rely on this evidence to make Danzo pay. Xingyu didn't know how to answer. Why? Of course, because even if there is real evidence, the ape flying sun / will not deal with Tuanzang. What's more, Kato as Tuanzo's subordinate, with Tuanzang's poison, will definitely set up some means on him, and this guy will definitely not be able to say anything in the end. You think you can take down Hokage by breaking Kato? Besides, can Kato really say something? Even if everything goes in a good direction, will the 3 generations really deal with the regiment? Xingyu's questioning completely followed Tsunade. Even if there was really evidence, according to Tsunade's understanding, her teacher ape flying sun chopper would not hide the group. Now we destroy all the corpses, and then treat them as if we don't know. Hashiba said towards Tsunade. The 3 generations of Hokage approved that they came with us, wouldn't the 3 generations of Hokage ask? Mikoto said. Mikoto, do you really believe Kato's broken words? I can guarantee that the 3 generations definitely did not send Kato to assist us. Xingyu said with a smile. A small sea-level task, it is absolutely impossible for the 3 generations of Hokage to send someone to assist them, so Kato is simply lying. Tsunade, you should have seen this too, right? Hashiha asked, looking at Tsunade. Ahem, I can see this. Tsunade coughed lightly, her face slightly red. As for whether she really saw that Kato had deceived them, then only Tsunade himself knew. Hashiha then used the Horde Fireball technique to burn their bodies, and after destroying the corpses, he returned to Konoha with Tsunade. Using Huangquan Hirasaka to open the space door, Hashiyu and they appeared directly not far from Konoha village. It's really convenient that this spatial ninjutsu can actually cross such a long distance. Tsunade couldn't help but say, by the way, where did you get this spatial ninjutsu? Tsunade asked towards Hashiha. My kaleidoscope riding wheel eye pupil technique. Xingyu pointed to his eyes. Tsunade opened his mouth to ask about Hashiha Sharingan, but he didn't know if he should ask. The problem of riding chakra eyes should be related to the secret of Hoshiyu. Hoshiyu also saw Tsunade's entanglement. Want to know about my Sharingan, huh? Well, if Xingyu you don't want to say it, I won't ask the bottom line. Tsunade nodded. She did want to understand, but she didn't want to embarrass Hashiha. I'll tell you slowly when I go back. Xingyu also did not intend to hide it. If he wanted to hide it, Xingyu would not show the kaleidoscope riding wheel eye at all. Episode 43. Go back to the village, go to the place where the task was handed over, and then hand over the task and get a sum of money for doing the task. The reward for this sea-level task is 10,000 taels, which is not much, because the remuneration of this 10,000 taels is to be divided among 4 people. 2,500 taels per person. If it is just a life, this money is enough to spend a month, but for a ninja, supplementing the ninja tools will cost a 7,788. After handing over the task and getting paid, Xingyu and they went home. Back at Tsunade's house, Mikoto came with her. Looking at Tsunade and their eyes on him, Hashiha coughed lightly, and then said, I know you're curious about why I have the Sharingan. In fact, there is nothing you can't say about me. I also have the blood of the Uchiha family in me. After that, Hashiha told Tsunade about his life history and Tsunade, that is, he told Tsunade that his mother was from the Uzumaki family, but his father was from the Uchiha family. So that's the case, your father is from the Uchiha family, do you know his name? Tsunade asked curiously. Hashiha glanced at Tsunade, and then said, don't be so gossipy, I don't know who he is, and I'm not interested in knowing, not to mention he's dead. If Xingyu still has feelings for his mother in this life, for that so-called father, Xingyu has no feelings for him, and he has never seen it, so why feelings? Mikoto, you can stay here for the time being, Tsunade said to Mikoto. Looking at the doubt in Mikoto's eyes, Tsunade spoke, you stay here, I will teach you conveniently, and it is also to guard against Danzo. Tsunade also knows Danzo, the means are ruthless, this time the loss is so big, who knows what he will do again. Tsunade is right, Mikoto, you should stay here first. Xingyu nodded. Even if Tsunade didn't say it, Hashiha was ready to say it. Compared to Tsunade, Hashiwa knows Shimura Danzo better, and Mikoto is really in danger if she is not by his side. Don't see that this is in Konoha village, but Danzo really dares to make a move, because Danzo knows that even if his movements are discovered by Sarutobi Hinata, it is only a verbal warning that does not hurt. Tsunade, you should also be careful. Hashiba said towards Tsunade. Although Tsunade's strength is not weak, it has not yet reached the shadow level, and if Danzo wants to deal with Tsunade, it can be solved by sending a few more elites to Shangnan. If it weren't for the star feathers this time, Tsunade would have cooled properly. That guy in Danzo didn't dare to do anything to me in Konoha. Tsunade said confidently. This is true. Outside the village, Tuanzong dares to do something to Tsunade, but inside the village, Tuanzong really does not dare to attack Tsunade. It is impossible to quickly solve the elite Shangnan. After all, not everyone is Xingyu. Even if Danzo personally strikes, he will not be able to quickly solve Tsunade. Once it can't be solved quickly, when the ninja of Konoha arrives, even the third generation of Hokage can't keep Danzo and strike at the princess of the Senju clan. What do you want to do? Although the Thousand Hands clan has declined at this time, it has not yet been extinguished, and its right to speak in Konoha is still not small, and some large families have to give face. Xingyu, how did your Sharingan eye open the kaleidoscope? As far as I know, only Uchiha has kaleidoscopic chakra eyes. Tsunade asked curiously. Uchiha is not an ordinary kaleidoscope chakra eye, he is an eternal kaleidoscope chakra eye, and it is very simple to open the kaleidoscope chakra eye. The corner of Tsunade's mouth twitched. It was simple to open the kaleidoscope writing wheel eye? Then why can't so many people from the Uchiha family open it? Mikoto looked at Hashiha curiously. As a member of the Uchiha family, Mikoto had heard of the kaleidoscope chakra eye, but the method of opening, no one in the Uchiha family knew. Mood swings. As long as the mood swings are large enough, you can make the Sharingan evolve. Open the kaleidoscope writing wheel eye. The most important thing is the mood swings. Read the original book to know who is not the emotional fluctuations, mentally stimulated. Open the kaleidoscope. Uchiha Itachi saw Uchiha stop the water and commit suicide, and was stimulated to open the kaleidoscope. Uchiha took the soil to see that his beloved Rin no Era died, and was stimulated to jump from Urgoyu to a kaleidoscope writing wheel eye. Xingyu opened the kaleidoscope, although the spirit was not stimulated, but the ability to evolve was also related to spiritual power. If you see your loved one dying in front of you, opening the kaleidoscope chakra eye is definitely not a problem. So cruel? Tsunade's brow furrowed. So how did you turn it on? Ahem, I have a special method for this, and ordinary people can't imitate it. Xingyu opens the kaleidoscope, and the system copy helps a lot. Otherwise, even if Xingyu can open the kaleidoscope writing wheel eye, it will be 2 years late. If you don't want to say it, forget it. Do you have a way to make Mikoto's Sharingan evolve? Tsunade asked towards Hashiha. Mikoto also looked at Hashiha with expectant eyes, and the Sharingan was too much of an increase in combat power for the ninja of the Uchiha family. The evolution of the Sharingan will improve with chakra, and the strength will instantly transform. Yes, it's just a little bit. It's not comfortable. Hashiha looked at Mikoto and thought about it for a moment, then said. Listening to Xingyu's words, Mikoto's heart felt bad, but in order to improve her strength and not drag her feet in the future, Mikoto gritted her teeth. Xingyu, please. Mikoto, you really decided, don't hit me after that. Hashiba said to Mikoto. Mikoto nodded heavily, already making up her mind. Then come out. Hashiba said to Mikoto. Tsunade and Kushina also came out with them. They were also very curious. Huangquan Harazaka. Hoshiyu opened the kaleidoscope chakra eye, used Huangquan Harazaka, and opened a pitch-black space door in front of him. Let's go inside, Mikoto. Mikoto did not hesitate, believed in Hoshiyu very much, and walked directly in. Mikoto's figure that entered it disappeared, and looking at Tsunade and Kushina's doubtful gazes, Hashiha stretched out his finger and pointed to the sky. Tsunade and Kushina looked up and saw Mikoto falling from the sky. After Mikoto entered the space door, she came out hundreds of meters in the air, and then fell in free fall. At this time, Mikoto was very panicked and afraid. Even if a shadow-level ninja fell from such a high place, he would feel panicked, not to mention Mikoto Shinobu who had just graduated. A hook of jade writing wheel eyes unconsciously opened, looking at the ground getting closer and closer. Mikoto was terrified to the extreme. A hook of jade writing wheel eyes quickly turned, and then an extra hook jade in the eyes evolved into a 2-hook jade writing wheel eye. At this time, Mikoto didn't have time to perceive the evolution of her Sharingan, and she felt like she was going to die. When Mikoto is about to fall to the ground, a space door appears again, and Mikoto falls into the space door. Then the door of the space in front of Hoshiyu opened again, and Mikoto came out of it. One of them was unsteady and almost fell, and was hugged by Hoshiyu. Mikoto, are you alright? Hashiba asked towards Mikoto. Mikoto was in a trance, and she hadn't reacted yet. She was really scared to the extreme just now. Episode 44. Mikoto, your Sharingan has evolved into Urgoyu Sharingan, Kushina said to Mikoto, who was in a trance, and even Tsunade was very surprised, and really let the Sharingan evolve. At this time, Mikoto, who was in a trance, finally came to her senses, and her pale face was distressing. So, Mikoto, are you okay? Xingyu asked cautiously. Although Xingyu knew that his life would not be in danger, His practice was really not something that ordinary people could endure. No way, if you want to make the Sharingan evolve rapidly, you must suffer, and you must pay if you want to gain something. I'm okay. Mikoto gritted her teeth and stared at Hashiha tightly and said, "Ahaha, it's okay." Hashiha snorted. How did he feel? As if Mikoto was going to eat herself? Was this an illusion? Mikoto calmed her heartbeat, and now her mood has not calmed down. Mikoto, in fact, I don't think it's a problem to help you open the 3-hook jade riding wheel eye. And 2 more times may allow you to open the 3-hook jade riding wheel eye. Do you want to try it? Listening to Hashiyu's words, Mikoto took 2 steps back. This time she couldn't stand it. If she came 2 more times, maybe she would be scared to death. And don't open the Xingyu Sharingan. Forget it, I'd better start it slowly by myself. Mikoto quickly refused. Is it really that scary? Juzanai asked. Mikoto glanced at Joshinai and said, Joshinai, you can go and give it a try, and then you will know that it is not terrible. Forget it. Thinking of Mikoto falling from the sky, Joshinai himself looked worried. If he really experienced it, just thinking about Joshinai made a shiver. Or don't do it. Although Mikoto was frightened a lot this time, the gain was quite large. Chakra directly doubled, plus the ability of Urgyu to write chakra eyes. Mikoto's strength is now not weaker than the elite shinobi. After Mikoto refused, Hashiha felt a pity, and then prepared to practice, but was held back by Tsunade. Tsunade, what are you holding me for? Xingyu asked strangely. You said before that Uchiha is not a kaleidoscope chakra eye, but an eternal kaleidoscope chakra eye. What is the eternal kaleidoscope chakra eye? The evolution of kaleidoscopic chakra eyes? This had been forgotten by Tsunade before, but now he suddenly remembered it, so he asked Hashiyu. That's right, the eternal kaleidoscope chakra eye is indeed the evolution of the kaleidoscope chakra eye. You don't know this? Xingyu is very strange. How can it be said that Senju and the Uchiha family are also mortal rivals? Don't you even know that Uchiha's Sharingan is an eternal kaleidoscope Sharingan? Isn't it weird that I don't know? Tsunade gave Hashiyu a blank look, and then asked suspiciously, how do you know? That's how I know. Xingyu didn't know how to answer either. Tsunade took a deep look at Hashiba, and from the beginning of meeting Hashiba, Tsunade knew that he had a lot of secrets. However, Tsunade will not ask the bottom of it, and if some secret star feathers are not said, Tsunade will not inquire. Skipping the topic, Tsunade then asked, what is the difference between kaleidoscope chakra eyes and eternal kaleidoscope chakra eyes? The difference is big. First of all, the pupil power. If the pupil power of the kaleidoscope riding wheel eye is a small river, then the pupil power of the eternal kaleidoscope riding wheel eye is the sea. The eternal kaleidoscope can use the full body Susanoo, while the kaleidoscope Sharingan has insufficient pupil power to use the full body Susanoo. In addition, the eternal kaleidoscope can be used at will, but the kaleidoscope riding wheel eye does not. The consumed pupil power cannot be restored, and excessive use will lead to vision loss and even blindness. What? Are you saying that overuse of the kaleidoscope chakra eye can lead to blindness? In an instant, Tsunade, Kushina, and Mikoto stood up. Don't worry, I'm special and won't be blind. When Xingyu saw the eyes of the 3 women, he knew that they were caring about their own eyes. Really? Joshinai looked at Xingyu suspiciously, and then said, don't lie to us. I swear, I lied to you that I'm a puppy. After Xingyu swore an oath, Joshinai believed it. Don't worry, I have a way to evolve into an eternal kaleidoscope. I'll go to cultivate first. Hashiha ran to cultivate. Mikoto looked at the time, and then went to cook in the kitchen, and the rest of Kushina and Tsunade sat in the living room with wide eyes. Soon, Mikoto was ready to eat, and then came to the courtyard to call Hashiha to eat. It's so fragrant. Xingyu walked in and couldn't help but say with the smell of fragrance, sure enough, although Mikoto is young, she is good at cooking. Xingyu, this pot of chicken soup was prepared for you by me to thank you for helping me open the Urgajade riding wheel eye. Thank you, don't have to be thankful. With our relationship, why say thank you? Hashiba said with a smile towards Mikoto. What relationship? Joshinai asked abruptly, looking at Xingyu dangerously. Teammates, what else can it matter? Xingyu replied with an innocent look. This chicken soup is so fragrant. Joshina looked at the chicken soup and wanted to serve a bowl, when she was suddenly knocked by Mikoto's small hand. Joshinai, this is for Xingyu. Only Xingyu himself can drink it. This is my gratitude to Xingyu. You must drink it. Mikoto said seriously towards Hashiba. Cut, what's the big deal? Don't drink it. Joshinai pouted. Since it's Mikoto's intention, then I will definitely drink it. Hashiha took Mikoto's chicken soup and said, smelling the fragrance, Xingyu knew that this chicken soup must be delicious. After blowing a breath of hot air and drinking a small sip, Xingyu's face changed slightly. This is also too salty. Doesn't salt need money? Why, don't you think it tastes good? Mikoto smiled and looked at Hashiha. Hashiha looked at Mikoto, not knowing if it was an illusion, but felt that Mikoto's smile was a little scary at this time. Tsunade ate silently, glanced at Hashiyu's face, and immediately knew that there was something wrong with the chicken soup, and he had to let them drink it. Mikoto, it's a little salty. Xingyu said with a bitter smile. Now Xingyu understands. What thanks? It is clearly revenge for himself. It seems that Mikoto is full of resentment about the method she helped her open the Urguaya Sharingan. Salty? Drink more salty. Mikoto said with a smile. Hashiha looked at Mikoto with the eyes of the devil. Mikoto, you are the devil. You are no longer the gentle and kind Mikoto in my mind. Mikoto, I was dedicated to helping you open the Urga Jade Riding Will, but you did this to me, alas. Xingyu sighed. Besides, I was almost scared to death. Mikoto gave Xingyu a blank look, and now when she thought of the process of opening the Urga Jade Riding Will, Mikoto's heart still felt afraid. Ahem, that's all the process of helping you write the Will evolution. You see your one-hook Jade Riding Will, didn't it evolve into the two-hook Jade Riding Will? Hoshiyu coughed lightly. The process of helping Mikoto was indeed a bit excessive. Okay, I'll drink all the chicken soup. Hashiha looked at Mikoto's resentful gaze and said with a sad expression, don't drink it, I put a little too much salt. Mikoto took the chicken soup straight away. It seems that Mikoto is still reluctant to let me suffer. Hashiha looked at Mikoto with a grin. Mikoto glared at Hoshiyu lightly, her cheeks flushed slightly. Jyoshina looked at Hashiwa and Mikoto, snorted softly, and suddenly felt a little sour in her heart. Episode 45. Jyoshina, where are you going? Mikoto asked, looking at Kushina who was walking out. Mikoto, I have something to go to Hashiyu, you rest first. After Jyoshina was stopped, his body trembled slightly, and then he said calmly, nope. Mikoto suddenly stopped Jyoshina and shook her head at Jyoshina. Tsunade-sensei told me, let me watch you, I can't let you run around at night, especially to Hashiha's side. After hearing this, Kushina couldn't help but grit his teeth. Tsunade is so hateful, and Mikoto, just as hateful. In the end, Jyoshina also failed to run to Xingyu's room, but was still watched by Mikoto, which made Jyoshina very angry in her heart. The next day, Xingyu got up early, but someone got up earlier than him. Mikoto is early. Hashiba greeted Mikoto. Xingyu, you are already up, then I'll go and prepare breakfast. Mikoto said, don't, let's wait until Tsunade and Kushina get up. Who knows when they get up, the two of them are very lazy. When you say bad things about others behind your back, it's best to pay attention to your surroundings first. Tsunade's cold voice came. Xingyu, I seem to hear you saying I'm lazy? Jyoshina looked at Xingyu with faint eyes. Xingyu was speechless. Is the sun coming out of the west today? Why did the two of them get up so early? Ahem, I'm going to practice knife art. If I don't practice for a day, I will be born with my hands. Leave. Hoshiyu found a reason to slip away, and directly used Huangquan Hirasaka to open it, and Tsunade couldn't catch him. Half an hour later, Hashiha returned for breakfast, and seeing Tsunade and Kuzuna looking at him with cold faces, Hashiha felt that he had to find a topic to shift. Tsunade, shall we go out on a mission today? Hashiha asked towards Tsunade. This you decide. If you want to go out to do the task, then do the task. If you don't want to, I can also take a good rest and be lazy. Hoshiyu, Kusina, and Mikoto looked at each other, and then Kuzuna and Mikoto looked at Hashiha. This is decided by Xingyu. Xingyu said to do the task, then do the task. They listened to Xingyu. Hoshiyu pondered for a moment, then asked Tsunade, can I receive a B-level task? C-level missions basically can't touch ninjas, and now Kushina and Mikoto need to fight real ninjas and improve their combat experience. Starfeather himself is the same, but he needs enemies who are equal to Starfeather to be able to help Starfeather. It's just that the enemy who can fight with him, Xingyu, is really difficult to find. Killing the elite Shangnindo is the same as chopping vegetables and cutting melons. It is estimated that the quasi-shadow is similar, and you must be shadow level to fight him. The 10-year-old shadow level should have set a record in the ninja world. Anyway, Xingyu doesn't believe who is as strong as himself at the age of 10. After all, he is open, and the 6 brothers are not as good as him at the age of 10. B-level mission? This is impossible. The 3 generations of old men will definitely not let me take it, and the previous C-level tasks are all exceptional. Tsunade shook his head. Hashiyu and they were all just graduated shinobi, and the C-level tasks were all considered to be on Tsunade's face. If that's the case, it's better to stay in Konoha and cultivate. Xingyu decided not to take the task, and it was not a lack of money. There was no need to do the useless task. Konoha Murain organized the base, and Danzo's face was gloomy and terrifying. You said Tsunade and those 3 imps came back yesterday? Yes, Master Tuanzo, they have returned from their mission. What about Kato? Does he have any news? Danzo was very angry, sending out such a strong force, and actually let Tsunade come back, and the little devil called Uzumaki Starfeather was not captured. They didn't hear from them and they didn't come back. The anger on Danzo's face disappeared, and his brows furrowed, asking them to go and kill Tsunade. Tsunade came back and they didn't come back. Not even a single news. Something must have happened. Go and investigate. Remember not to be discovered by the ape flying sun. Danzo said to the ninja of the rude organization in front of him. After the ninja left, Danzo slapped the table, and the anger slammed into the brain, and he couldn't bear it anymore. All at once, 3 elite upper shinobi, plus 3 upper shinobi, suddenly there was no news. How could Tuanzong calm down? Ape flying sun, I hope it has nothing to do with you. Tuanzang's eyes released a cold light, and Tuanzong suspected that this had a lot to do with the ape flying sun at this time. If it is just Tsunade, Danzo believes that Tsunade is dead, so Danzo suspects that it has something to do with Sarutobi Hinata. Perhaps his movements were discovered by the ape flying sun. Tuanzong didn't suspect Xingyu's head. After all, Xingyu was only 10 years old now. Who would think that Xingyu's strength was very strong? Therefore, Tuanzong suspected that Ape Fei Rechop's head, and felt that Ape Fei rechopped to sabotage his plan, and Tuanzong felt a little resentful in his heart. For Tuanzang's suspicions, Xingyu didn't know. If he knew, he would probably die of laughter. It's good to let Tuanzo go and eat dogs with 3 generations. Whether it is 3 generations of Hokage or Danzo, it is not a good thing. Hoshiyu is training and Tsunade is in charge of guidance. However, Tsunade guides Kushina and Mikoto, and for Hashiba, Tsunade said that he can't guide him, his strength is stronger than her. And where do he need her to guide? Wind escape spiral shuriken. Xingyu threw out the spiral shuriken in his hand, and after the spiral shuriken hit the stake, it burst out instantly, and the stake completely disappeared, and even the wood chips could not be found. A large crater of about 50 meters appeared on the ground, and the chakra storm was still raging, and if it passed, it would still be injured. It's 100% done, Xingyu said with satisfaction, divided thousands of shadow doppelgangers to study together, and now finally completely perfected the wind escape spiral shuriken. Spiral shuriken is the ninjutsu developed by the protagonist Naruto Uzumaki, with spiral pill, which is very powerful, but it also has shortcomings. The state is unstable, and it has to attack from 0 distance, and there are side effects that cause internal injuries to the caster, and it is classified as an S-class forbidden technique. However, this is a disadvantage when it is not fully developed, and in the original book, after Naruto Uzumaki practiced the immortal mode, he completely completed this ninjutsu, and completely overcame the side effects under the immortal mode. Hoshiyu does not have an immortal mode, but this does not prevent Xingyu from being able to complete the ninjutsu of Spiral Shuriken 100%. The difficulty of Spiral Shuriken is stability. As long as it is stable enough and the control is strong enough, how can the technique you use hurt yourself? Zinga's Spiral Shuriken immediately attracted Tsunade's attention. What is this ninjutsu? Tsunade asked with a shocked look. The ninjutsu I developed, the spiral pill added to the nature change of the wind attribute chakra, and then the ninjutsu that was born, the power is still okay, right? Xingyu said with a smile. Tsunade didn't know what to say at this time. This ninjutsu is initially estimated to have S level. It was actually studied by Xingyu, and in an instant Tsunade was hit. You are so perverted, how can we ordinary ninjas live? Episode 46. Xingyu, this ninjutsu is so powerful, I want to learn it. After Jioshinai saw the power of the wind escape spiral shuriken, his eyes lit up and looked at Xingyu. Xingyu shook his head. Jioshinai, it's not that I don't want to teach you, but you are not suitable to learn this ninjutsu now. Jioshinai, S-level ninjutsu, don't think about it for the time being, it's not so easy to learn. Tsunade also said to Kushina, S-level ninjutsu is powerful, but it is also difficult to learn, and the difficulty of the wind escape spiral shuriken is really not small, because it is an S-class forbidden technique. When cultivating spiral shuriken, it is easy to hurt yourself. The wind escape spiral shuriken is a ninjutsu that turns the wind attribute chakra into a thin needle and directly attacks human cells, and the ninja who is hit will be paralyzed even if he does not die. However, the wind escape spiral shuriken also has shortcomings. If you don't control it well when cultivating, you will hurt yourself, and if you don't have a fully completed spiral shuriken, you can't throw it at all, so when you attack the enemy, it will also be affected. To cultivate this ninjutsu, it is best to use the shadow avatar to cultivate. Hashi had talked to them about the ninjutsu of the wind escape spiral shuriken. When Xingyu practiced this ninjutsu, he used the shadow avatar to complete it, and only released it personally after it was completely completed. But if Jioshinai wants to use the shadow avatar to cultivate like Xingyu, it will be troublesome, and chakra is not enough. It is estimated that after failing a few times, chakra will be exhausted, and now Jioshinai is not suitable for cultivating this ninjutsu. The consumption of chakra is very large. Even if Jioshinai has a lot of chakra, it can't withstand the consumption, so let's wait for later to cultivate. Okay, Jioshinai didn't have much loss, but you can cultivate this technique. Hashiha's gaze looked at Tsunade. Tsunade's chakra is enough. As a member of the Senju family, Tsunade also has an immortal body, although it cannot be compared with the immortal body of Xingyu, but that chakra is also huge and unimaginable. Don't look at Tsunade is now an elite shinobi, but in terms of the amount of chakra, Tsunade's chakra is several times that of the ape flying sun. A ninja with an immortal body grows up, basically there will be no shortage of blue, and a ninja with a perfect immortal body, chakra is overflowing, and it is impossible to use more. Xingyu feels that his current chakra, even if it is not as good as the 9 tails, will definitely not be less than the chakra of the 8 tails. You're going to teach me this ninjutsu? Tsunade looked at Hashiha in surprise. This is not the ninjutsu of the Rotten Street, this is an S-level ninjutsu, actually taught her generously. Should this little devil really be interesting to her? If you don't want to learn it, forget it. In fact, it's just an S-class ninjutsu, it's nothing to me, Xingyu said with a shrug. This is not a star feather pretending. The wind escape spiral shuriken is indeed strong, but the technique that is stronger than the wind escape spiral shuriken is not for nothing. Since you are willing to teach, then of course I don't mind learning. This is S-level ninjutsu. In the face of S-class ninjutsu, even Tsunade couldn't help but be moved. In that case, let's call Xingyu sensei. Hashiha smiled and looked at Tsunade. You look for a fight. Tsunade raised his fist in annoyance and hit Hashiba. Hoshiyu smiled and dodged Tsunade's fist. Tsunade's fist swallowed slowly in Hoshiyu's eyes, and he could dodge it casually. Abominable. Tsunade found out in annoyance that he seemed unable to help the little ghost of Hashiha. Hurry up, think about what a great opportunity this is. A teacher is an S-class ninjutsu. Jioshurnai said to Tsunade with some exaggeration. Mikoto, are you right? Kushina pushed Mikoto next to him. Well, I think Tsunade-sensei made a lot of money. Mikoto smiled and said that she and Jioshina were just watching the excitement. Tsunade snorted softly, an S-rank ninjutsu. Just want her to call Hashiyu, this little ghost teacher, dream away. Hashiba-sensei. Well, sure enough, no one can escape Maka's law, including Tsunade. Hoshiyu was also very shocked. To be honest, Hoshiyu was just joking with Tsunade, and he really didn't expect Tsunade to really call him teacher. With Tsunade's personality, Hoshiyu is really hard to imagine. Why? Are you looking for a beating? Tsunade's face turned red when Hashiha, Kushina, and Mikoto looked at him, and after calling this Hashiha-sensei, Tsunade felt that his knots were. Since Tsunade apprentice you sacrificed so much, I will teach you the wind escape spiral shuriken. Xingyu said with a smile. Tsunade gritted his teeth, feeling that Hoshiyu wanted to be beaten. How could she really call Hoshiyu-sensei a ghost? If time could be turned back, Tsunade would definitely go back and take back the words and make Hashiha and her fist have an intimate contact. Seeing that Tsunade wanted to get angry, Hashiha coughed lightly, and then told Tsunade some of the points of the spiral shuriken first. So I still have to learn the spiral pill first? Yes, the spiral pill is the basis of the spiral shuriken. You don't know the spiral pill, how to release the spiral shuriken. Xingyu nodded and said, Spiral pill Hashiba taught Tsunade before, but Tsunade has not learned it now. Spiral pill will not be difficult after knowing the main points. It is estimated that Tsunade can learn it in a few days. In other words, Tsunade, as the princess of the Senju clan, you should not lack S-class ninjutsu. Who told you I wouldn't be short of S-class ninjutsu? I can get Mudo in S-level ninjutsu, but other S-level ninjutsu have all been put into the Book of Seals by the second grandfather. Tsunade said towards Hashiha. Mudun Tsunade will not, except for the original Hokage Thousand Hands pillar. No one can Mudun now. And other S-level ninjutsu researched by the Thousand Hands, such as the Flying Thunder God technique and Dirt Rebirth, were all put into the Book of Seals. However, even if it is not placed in the Book of Seals, Tsunade can see it, she may not be able to learn it. The Flying Thunder God art requires the talent of having space, and the Rebirth of Dirt is not easy. It is a very difficult forbidden art to cultivate. By the way, Xingyu, this S-grade ninjutsu, don't expose it easily. Tsunade said solemnly, S-level ninjutsu is very rare in various countries, and even shadow-level ninjas want to get ninjutsu. If it is exposed, I am afraid that there will be danger, especially this guy Danzo. Tsunade does not believe that Danzo will not be hungry for S-class ninjutsu. Don't worry, I won't be exposed easily, and ordinary people can't let me use the Izuke spiral shuriken. As long as it is not an accident, the current star feather will basically not face against a ninja who is too strong, and against ordinary lower and middle ninja, Luoyu is impossible to use a spiral shuriken. It is not even necessary to deal with Shainin, where there is a knife, to death quickly. Tsunade nodded, very relieved of Hashiha Tsunade. If the rope tree has half of your strength, I won't worry about it, and I don't know how the rope tree is over there now. At this time, a certain teenager who was picking manure suddenly sneezed. Did someone miss me? The rope tree scratches its head and continues to pick up manure. As for why he is picking manure, of course, the big snake pill took over the task of cleaning up the pasture, including cleaning the manure of the pasture. I have to say that the big snake pill took a good task. Episode 47. After a day of cultivation, Xingyu touched his stomach, a little hungry. Let's practice here today, my stomach is a little hungry, Xingyu said to the women sitting on the ground. It seems that you are strong, and it is not for nothing. Tsunade looked at Hashiha wearily. Tired, really tired, they learned Xingyu. After high-intensity training for half a day, they couldn't hold on, but Xingyu looked like he was at ease. Don't compare with me in this regard, I have an advantage over you, Xingyu said. The resilience of the perfect immortal body is unimaginable. As long as it is not too intense training, Xingyu will not feel tired. It is just like a perpetual motion machine. Just as Xingyu and them were about to go back, they saw a figure walking over from a distance. The rope tree is coming. Although the distance was far away, Xingyu's eyes were good enough, and at a glance, he could see that the one who came from a distance was a rope tree. Xingyu, sister, you are really here. Rope tree smiled as if he had picked up money. Rope tree looks happy when you look happy. Could it be that you have picked up money? Hoshiyu asked towards the rope tree. I didn't find any money, but I made money, and there are quite a few of them, so I'm going to treat you to dinner today. After the rope tree walked in, he said to Xingyu with a happy face, looking at the happy appearance of the rope tree. It seemed that he really made a lot of money. However, looking at the rope tree, Tsunade, Kushina, and Mikoto stepped back a little and opened the distance, and even Hoshiha subconsciously took a step back. Rope tree, why do you smell so bad? Tsunade asked. Stinks? The rope tree sniffed carefully on his body, but did not feel the stench. It is not that there is a problem with the sense of smell of the rope tree, but that the rope tree is used to it, and today it smells too much, and the rope tree that is used to it does not feel the smell. Hey, did you fall into the pit? Joshinai asked suspiciously, while continuing to step back and distance away. No, I just picked the feces for an afternoon. After Rope Tree finished speaking, Tsunade and the three daughters walked directly away, and even Hashi had dodged it. It was so real. Rope Tree, you have a problem in your head. Why are you picking up dung? Xingyu couldn't help but say, I don't want to either, but Orochimaru-sensei took on the task of cleaning up the ranch, mainly to clean up the feces in the ranch, which is no way. The Rope Tree said with a bitter face, in order not to fail the first task in his life, even the dung Rope Tree did dry, and the reward of this task is indeed rich, although it is a D-level task, but the reward is comparable to the C-level task. Xingyu glanced at the Rope Tree sympathetically, but he did not expect that the big snake pill received such a superb task. It's not making money. I want to find you to celebrate, and invite you to eat barbecue today. Rope Tree said with a proud face. Tsunade's face was very ugly. Rope Tree, before you come over, don't you know to go take a shower and then change your clothes? I see that you are not here to invite us to dinner, but to disgust us. The Rope Tree looked at the question mark. I kindly came to invite you to eat barbecue, but I was distressed for a long time before I made up my mind. Why didn't you treat me instead? However, there was a stink from the Rope Tree, who still has an appetite now, even if Xingyu, who is hungry, now feels that he has no appetite. Xingyu, why are they looking at me like this? Naoki didn't understand why Tsunade, and they were all staring at him with murderous eyes. Xingyu shook his head, and then said, wait for next time, we won't go this time. Xingyu directly rejected the Rope Tree, so that the Rope Tree was unfortunately rejoicing, but it was a pity that Xingyu did not agree. But fortunately his money was saved. Rope Tree left, ruthlessly driven away by Tsunade, and Rope Tree still had depression in his eyes when he left. The big snake pill is really not disgusting. He actually accepts this kind of task, and only he will accept this kind of task. Tsunade couldn't help but say, in other words, do we still eat at night? I don't have an appetite anyway. Jioshinai said, eat, of course you have to eat. If you don't eat, you won't starve to death. Xingyu felt that he was not to the point where he couldn't eat disgustingly. In comparison, Xingyu still feels that eating enough is the most important thing. Otherwise how can he have the strength to cultivate? Even if there is a perfect immortal body, he must eat. As a result, today's dinner, really only Xingyu ate alone, and Jioshinai, and they all said that they would not eat it today. Mikoto, you live here now. Won't the Uchiha family say anything? Hashiba suddenly asked Mikoto. Mikoto shook her head. I'm in the Uchiha family, it's just a small transparent. No one should say anything. Although Mikoto is beautiful, in the ninja world, beauty is not a meal, so Mikoto, who has a quieter personality, is not famous in the Uchiha family. Don't worry, my disciple of Tsunade, no one dares to say anything. Tsunade said domineeringly. Xingyu suddenly pouted. You said this as if you were very powerful. Hey, Starfeather little ghost, are you disdainful of me? Xingyu's secretly pouting appearance was suddenly seen by Tsunade, and Tsunade immediately stood up and glared at Xingyu angrily. Hehe, in fact, you read it wrong. I clearly think you are very powerful. Xingyu replied perfunctorily. What's so powerful, Xingyu? You are much more powerful than her. Jioshinai said. Xingyu glanced at Jioshinai. Jioshinai, are you deliberately pulling hatred for me? Jioshinai, do you want to taste my fist? Tsunade clenched his fists and looked dangerously at Kushina. What are you going to do? Kushina vigilantly hid behind Hashiyu and looked at Tsunade. You have the ability to come over. You see if my punch can make you hide in the quilt and cry. Tsunade said as he clenched his fists towards Kushina. Threaten me. Do you think you are a big deal? Give me 3 years, I will definitely be able to surpass you. Jioshinai said without anger. The corner of Carefree's mouth twitched. Jioshinai, do you want to make a 3-year contract with Tsunade? Do you want to say 30 years of Hadong, 30 years of Hashi? But even after 3 years, Kushina can't be Tsunade's opponent. Unless Kushina becomes the pillar power of the Nine Tails and can perfectly use the power of the Nine Tails, it is possible to defeat Tsunade within 3 years. But now it is no longer possible for Jioshinai to become the nine-tailed human pillar force, and the nine-tailed human pillar force already has a candidate, that is, Uzumaki Akiko. And even if you really become a nine-tailed human pillar force, it is impossible to control the power of the nine tails. How can the nine tails lend you power? It would be good not to make trouble for you. Oh, well, I'd rather see how you surpass me in 3 years, but that doesn't stop me from crying now. Tsunade obviously did not give up, and the idea of beating Joshinai was walking towards Joshina with a weird smile on his face. Xingyu, help me. Looking at the weird smile on Tsunade's face, Joshina felt frightened and quickly approached Hashiyu. Xingyu, this little ghost can't help you. Today I will teach you a good lesson, Tsunade said as he grabbed it towards Kushina. Okay Tsunade, why are you bullying Joshinai? Her strength is still weak, and bullying has no sense of accomplishment. Hashiha stopped Tsunade and said, I knew you would protect her. Tsunade snorted softly, giving Hashiha a face, and letting Joshina go. Joshinai gently bit Xingyu's arm. What is it that her strength is still weak, and there is no sense of achievement when bullied? Listen to this as human language? Episode 48. Tsunade, do you know some of Konoha's blood succession limits? After waking up in the morning, Hashiha asked Tsunade while eating breakfast. Tsunade glanced at Hashiha suspiciously, and then said, the blood succession limit realm is very rare in the ninja realm, and there are not many ninjas in Konoha who have the blood succession limit realm. Among them, the Sharingan of the Uchiha family, the White Eyes of the Hyuga family, the immortal body of the Senju family, and then add your Uzumaki family. Oh. And finally there is the Kurama family. Hearing Tsunade mention the Kurama family, Hashiha's eyes suddenly lit up. This family was really forgotten by Hashiha. Now through Tsunade's reminder, Xingyu remembered that this family has a strong blood succession limit, that is, the 5 senses dominate. The illusion that can dominate the 5 senses and has the ability to make the illusion become real. This is simply the ultimate of Yin. The art of Yin can create the body invisibly, while the art of Yang can inject life into the body. And Yin and Yang is a technique that can create life. Xingyu didn't know if this dominant 5 senses could be compared with the slashing sword mirror Shueiyu in the God of Death, but it would definitely not be weak. It shouldn't be as terrifying as the blue-dyed Kagami Shueiyu, otherwise, the Kurama family would not be a small family now. If you can really completely dominate the 5 senses, it is not impossible to dominate the ninja world, and the ability of the Kurama clan cannot be so terrifying. Tsunade, I wonder if the Kurama clan still has a ninja who has awakened the blood succession realm, Hashiha asked towards Tsunade. At this time, Xingyu had already had the idea to copy this blood succession limit. Although the Kurama clan has such a terrifying blood succession limit, due to physical reasons, it may not be able to play it at all. The physique of the Kurama family is not good, and it is not good to be tired after cultivating for a while, and it is estimated that there will not be many chakras. Chakra is extracted from cells. If the body is not good, chakra will definitely not be much, and the weak body is not allowed to refine too much chakra at all. In the past, there were quite a few Kurama clans with the blood succession limit, once on a par with our Senju clan and the Uchiha clan, but now they have not become a small clan, and there seems to be only one who awakens the blood succession limit. Although Tsunade didn't know why Hashiha asked this, he still told Hashiba what he knew. It's good if there is, I'm afraid there is none. Xingyu breathed a sigh of relief. He was afraid that now the Kurama clan did not have a single awakened blood succession limit. Then he was afraid that he would have to wait for Kurama Yakumo to be born. But now that Kurama Yakumo was born, maybe there were still more than 10 years to go, and he didn't have time to wait. Perhaps by then, he would no longer be able to see the blood succession limit of the Kurama clan. Xingyu, what are you asking this for? Joshinai asked curiously. Mikoto and Tsunade were also very curious, looking at Hashiha with inquiry in their eyes. I can't say this is a secret. Xingyu shook his head. There were some secrets that could not be said for the time being. Tsunade, do you know where the Kurama clan who awakened the blood succession limit is now? It's in Konoha's torture department. Because he has super illusion ability, he is the head of Konoha's torture department. The torture department of Konoha's dark department. It is said that the people of the Uchiha family in this department are also very suitable. But the 3 generations will not let the Uchiha family enter the dark department. I want to meet that person, can you take me? Hashiha asked towards Tsunade. If it was Xingyu himself, he really couldn't see the head of the torture department. After all, the torture department was a department belonging to the dark department. Tsunade looked at Hashiba and nodded at the end. You promised? Don't you just ask me why? Hashiha looked at Tsunade in surprise. Will you tell me if I ask you? Hashiha smiled awkwardly. He really couldn't tell Tsunade about this. Let's go. Tsunade left with Hashiba, and Kushina and Mikoto did not go with them. As a disciple of the 3rd generation of Hokage, Tsunade could not enter the torture department at will, but it was still no problem to call Kuramakaze, the head of the torture department, out. Tsunade-sama, are you looking for me? Kuramakaze looked at Tsunade unexpectedly, but he didn't expect that the princess of the Senju clan would come to him, which made Kuramakaze a little flattered. You must know that the Kurama clan is no longer a big clan, it has been reduced to a small clan, and Tsunade is already a big man for him. Tsunade's gaze looked at Hashiba. It was not her who came to find Kuramakaze, but Hashiba. and he didn't know what Hashiba wanted to do. Hello Kurama, I heard that your illusion is very powerful. I wonder if you can teach me. Xingyu said with a smile. However, while speaking, Hashiha had already used the advanced copy card towards Kurama Wind, copying Kurama Wind's 5 senses. After copying it, Xingyu felt that his already very powerful spiritual power instantly increased by a lot. Even the pupil technique increased, and his eyes were a little numb. Xingyu blinked, only to feel that numb feeling disappear. Xingyu could feel that his kaleidoscope chakra eye had changed, but it had not evolved into an eternal kaleidoscope, but there were only signs of this. This made Xingyu couldn't help but rejoice. This was completely unexpected. Kurama Wind looked at Hoshiyu. The expression on his face was a little embarrassed. Hoshiyu wanted to ask him to teach, but Kurama Fong didn't want to. But if you refuse, will you offend Tsunade, which Tsunade brought out, and Tsunade is standing here. And Tsunade glanced at Hashiha in surprise. With a kaleidoscope chakra eye, why did he need to follow Kurama Wind to learn illusions? Tsunade knew that Hashiba must have other purposes. I'm sorry, I'm afraid I don't have time to teach you. Kurama said apologetically. After weighing it up, Kurama refused, and then said to Tsunade, Tsunade-sama also knows that the work of the torture department is a bit busy, so I don't have time to teach others. Kurama Wind is afraid of offending Tsunade, so he explained out loud that the current Kurama clan can't offend Tsunade. It's a pity, but since that's the case, forget it. Xingyu said. The so-called asking him to teach himself illusion is completely an excuse for Xingyu. After all, seeing Kurama Wind for no reason is always a little abnormal, so he uses this as an excuse. Star Feather's purpose is only Kurama Fang's blood succession limit, and the rest does not matter at all. Whether Kurama Wind agrees or refuses, Star Feather does not care. Even Xingyu couldn't wait for him to refuse, because Xingyu didn't think about letting him teach him illusion at all. Tsunade, let's go. Hashiba said towards Tsunade. After taking a look at Hashiha, he still couldn't understand what Hashiha was doing, but he said he left, and Tsunade left with Hashiha. Looking at the back of Hashiha and Tsunade as they left, Kuramaka's eyes widened sharply. It felt wrong. Why did Tsunade-sama seem like that little guy's henchman? Illusion must be an illusion. If Tsunade knew that Kuramakaze thought of her as Hashiha's henchman, he would probably turn his head and punch him. His fragile body would definitely not be able to withstand Tsunade's punch. Episode 49. Tsunade took the Uzumaki Star Feather to contact Kuramakaze. The third Hokage held the pipe and took a puff from time to time, his brows furrowed tightly. Yes, the third generation of Hokage-sama. It is understood that Uzumaki Hashiha wanted to learn illusion with Kuramakaze, but Kuramakaze refused. A ninja in the dark part next to him reported to the 3 generations of Hokage. Tsunade brought Hashiwa to find Kuramakaze. Of course, this is the eyeliner that cannot escape the dark part, and if the people in the dark part know, then the 3 generations of Hokage will naturally know. Is that so? Sarutobi nodded, and then stopped paying attention. At this time, Tsunade and Hashiba had returned home, and Hashiba went directly to his room and opened the kaleidoscope chakra eye. Feeling his changes, his pupil power doubled, and the magic ability of the Sharingan should be stronger, but there is no goal for Xingyu to experiment for the time being. With a huge amount of spiritual power, Xingyu felt that his illusion attack would turn into a substantial attack. It seems that this time it is right to copy the blood succession limit of the Kurama family, and the strength of the Star Feather has increased a lot, especially to make up for the lack of Star Feather illusion. Before Xingyu's illusion cannot be said to be not strong. After all, there is a kaleidoscope writing wheel eye. Can the illusion be weak? It's just that compared to his physical skills and ninjutsu, it is a lot worse. After studying the changes in the kaleidoscope writing wheel eye, Xingyu estimated that his pupil power was already huge, but when it evolved into an eternal kaleidoscope, this Star Feather was still bottomless. Xingyu, come out. Hoshiyu in the room, after hearing Tsunade's shout, opened the door and walked out. After coming out, Xingyu found that the Big Snake Pill and Zelaya were also here, as well as the disciples brought by the Big Snake Pill, and the disciples brought by Zilai. Xingyu-kun, long time no see. Orochimaru smiled and took the initiative to greet Xingyu, which made Xingyu very surprised. Not only was Hashiha surprised, but Tsunade and Jiraiya, who were teammates of the Great Snake Pill, were also very surprised. And the Great Snake Pill was not the one who took the initiative to talk to others. Actually, I originally wanted to become the guidance of Hashiyu-kun. Orochimaru spoke. Yo, I didn't expect that you were optimistic about this little ghost in the Big Snake Pill, but his performance in the ninja school is not very good. Zilai also looked at Xingyu in surprise. If Xingyu wants to change the guidance to shinobi, you can come to me. Orochimaru ignored Jiraiya, but looked at Xingyu and said, Orochimaru, are you digging my corner? Tsunade was angry, and chakra burst out and glared angrily at Orochimaru. The smelly snake of the Big Snake Pill actually dared to rob people with her. Did he think she was so bullied? It's really scary, chakra. Orochimaru glanced at Tsunade, a flash of envy flashed in his eyes. Tsunade's chakra was much stronger than he didn't know. However, the Big Snake Pill is not afraid of Tsunade. Chakra cannot be a measure of strength, not Chokrato must be strong. Xingyu-kun, what is your choice? The big snake pill still looked at Xingyu, and an interested look flashed in his eyes. Xingyu expressed a chill at this. I think it's good to follow Tsunade, and I didn't think about changing the guidance to Shinobu. Tsunade breathed a sigh of relief. She was really afraid that Xingyu would run away with the big snake pill, but Tsunade thought too much, and Xingyu would not follow the pervert of the big snake pill. Although the big snake pill is definitely the NO1 in the Hokage world in terms of scientific research, it cannot be denied that the big snake pill is very perverted. That's a shame. Orochimaru shook his head in disappointment. What are you doing here? Hoshiyu asked Orochimaru and Jiraiya if it was okay. They shouldn't have come here. It's like this, there is a task that the 3 of us need to do, so the 9 of you will temporarily do the task together, and the 3rd generation will send a shaman to take your 3 squads to carry out the task together. Jiraiya said to Xingyu, that's how it is. Hashiha nodded, and then Hashiha's gaze turned to Tsunade. Tsunade, if you encounter danger when you go out on a mission, run quickly. Yo, Starfeather little ghost, are you concerned about me? Tsunade asked with a teasing smile. Yes, after all, if Tsunade you can't come back outside, I'm also very distressed. Xingyu scratched his hair and said. Tsunade's face darkened, and he couldn't help but knock Hoshiyu. Won't you say something nice? The task is very urgent, I will leave first. You go to the number 24 training ground and wait for the new leader Shaman. Tsunade, Orochimaru, and Jiraiya left, and the task of being able to get the 3 of them to strike together was certainly not a simple task. However, the strength of the 3 of them is not weak. Even if they really encounter danger, there should be no problem in ensuring their own safety. Xingyu, we're going to do the mission together. Rope Tree said happily. Oh, I don't want to go with you to pick up dung. Hashiyu's words immediately made the faces of Rope Tree's teammates Hinata and Uzumaki darken, and Rope Tree actually told them about picking dung. Let's go to the training ground number 24 in Konoha. Hoshiyu took the lead to Konoha's 24th training ground, and then Mikoto and Jyoshina followed Hashiha, and Rope Tree and Wave Feng Shueimon also followed. After arriving at the 24th training ground in Konoha, the new leader Shaman had not yet arrived, and Hashiha simply found a place to sit. Hey, Xingyu, did you do any tasks? Rope Tree asked towards Hoshiyu. Well, it's just a sea-level mission. Xingyu smiled slightly at the Rope Tree. The Rope Tree jumped up all at once. What, you guys did a sea-level mission? It's not fair, why can we only take D-level tasks? Rope Tree yelled, causing everyone else's eyes to look over with inquiry in their eyes. Jyoshina, shouldn't you really have done a sea-level mission? Akiko Uzumaki asked towards Kushina. Jyoshina nodded towards Uzumaki Akiko. There was nothing to hide from this, and Jyoshina felt very proud. Who knows if it's true or not? Uzumaki said with a cold snort. Compared to the others, Uzumaki seemed a little out of place, even if Rope Tree and Hinata as teammates did not want to hurt him. In fact, when he first became a teammate, Rope Tree thought about getting on a good relationship with Uzumaki, but now forget it, Rope Tree has given up. Uzumaki, are you looking for a beating? Jyoshina stood up and said, you think I'm going to be afraid of you? Uzumaki glanced at Jyoshina with disdain. You don't need to talk nonsense about him at all, just do it. Xingyu said towards Jyoshina, it is not advisable to put ruthless words, and it is more effective to do it directly than to put 10,000 cruel words. Jyoshina nodded, and directly used the sealing technique Vajra blockade, instantly tying up the whirlpool, so that the whirlpool could not move. Uzumaki Akiko's eyes widened, so skillfully using the Vajra sealing technique, even she couldn't do it. After Akiko Uzumaki was cultivated as a human pillar force, she received careful instruction from Uzumaki Mito, but even so, she can only barely use the Vajra blockade now, and she is completely unable to reach the ease and proficiency of Jyoshina. Uzumaki was controlled, embarrassed, and roared and struggled, but was greeted by the disdainful gaze of Jyoshina. Episode 50. Looking at Uzumaki, who was tied up by chains and couldn't struggle, Rope Tree whispered to Hashiyu and asked, what kind of ninjutsu is this? I don't remember, my sister willing. Rope Tree thought that the Congo blockade was taught to Kushina by Tsunade. This is the sealing technique Vajra blockade, which belongs to the Vortex clan. Xingyu said towards the Rope Tree. Oh, since it's the sealing technique of the Uzumaki clan, then Uzumaki should also be able to do it, right? Rope Tree glanced at Uzumaki. Him? Hoshiyu glanced at Uzumaki, and then shook his head. This guy's talent is so poor, it is estimated that he has not learned it yet. Xingyu's words did not lower his voice at all, and Uzumaki heard it clearly, and instantly wanted to vomit blood angrily. Uzumaki Hashiyu's words almost did not point to Uzumaki nose, saying that Uzumaki was too weak. Jyoshina used the chakra chain to throw Uzumaki out, and Uzumaki smashed directly on a tree, snorting and almost fainting. I'll teach you a little lesson this time. Is Uzumaki Jyoshina-san so strong? Bo Feng Shuemen said in surprise, because Uzumaki, in recent times, has been looking for his trouble, and Wave Feng Shuemen also knows Uzumaki's strength. Relying on Zhou Xian, Wave Feng Shuemen can now defeat Uzumaki, but it will definitely not be easy. In fact, Uzumaki is also a genius, and his talent is at least better than Uzumaki Akiko. After being taught a lesson, Uzumaki shouted and killed without getting up, and suddenly became honest, probably knowing that he was not an opponent and did not want to humiliate himself anymore. Time passed minute by minute, and in the blink of an eye, an hour passed, but this agent Shinobu had not yet come. What's the matter? I haven't come over yet. Inuzuka Pa on the side was a little impatient, and he was really annoyed waiting. More than half an hour later, that agent Sharingan finally came, and this Sharingan Xingyu didn't know him. Hello, my name is Asakawa Mu, you can call me Asakawa Kami Shinobu, and for the next period of time I will guide you, the new agent Shinobu said. Then I introduced myself first, and I got to know that this Kami ninja named Asakawaki had a pretty good personality. Shinobu Asagawa, can we go and take the mission? Rope Tree asked Shinobu Asagawa. Take the task, this is no problem, I originally planned to take you to take the task. Asakawa nodded and said, Shinobu Asakawa, I'm not talking about that kind of D-level mission, but a more advanced task. After learning that Xingyu and they had performed C-level missions, Rope Tree also wanted to perform advanced missions. Asakawa Kami Shinobu frowned when he heard this, and then shook his head towards the Rope Tree. Ninjas who have just graduated should not be taken out for the time being. If something really happens, as the leader of the team, he is responsible. These were the disciples of Naruto-sama's 3 disciples, and if something really happened, he couldn't afford it. Even if the Rope Tree asked, Asakawa Kami Shinobu refused without hesitation, and the Rope Tree could only bow his head in disappointment. Then Asakawa Kami Shinobu took Hashiwa and them to take on a task of weeding. I'm a whirlpool star feather, I actually came here to pull grass, alas. Xingyu looked at this farmland and couldn't help but sigh. Poof. Mikoto couldn't help but laugh out loud. It's funny enough to think about it, a few days ago it was still tolerating the abuse of the elite, and now it is reduced to the field of weeding and doing farm work, which is really a big difference. Mikoto, what are you laughing at? Hashiha asked Mikoto suspiciously. Guess what? Mikoto playfully winked at Hashiha. Mikoto, who had a gentle personality, seemed to be the first time to make such a move, and Hashiha couldn't help but be stunned. And in the eyes of Jioshinai next to him, that is, Xingyu looked at Mikoto dumbfounded, and suddenly the vinegar in his heart exploded. What are you two doing without weeding? Kushina looked at Hashiwa and Mikoto angrily. Jioshinai, your face is as bulging as a bun, very cute. Xingyu looked at Jioshinai and couldn't help but stretch out his hand and pinch Jioshinai's cheeks on both sides, with a smile on his face. You're cute. Jioshinai gave Xingyu a blank look. She would rather Xingyu praise her beauty than Xingyu praise her cuteness. Say her cute things, wouldn't you still treat her as a child who has not grown up? Mikoto, you and I come here to pull grass, don't go near him, he's bad. Jioshinai pulled Mikoto away, specifically away from Xingyu, especially the sentence, he is very bad, left by Jioshinai, which made Xingyu feel very heartbroken. Ninjutsu multiple shadow doppelganger art. In an instant, dozens of shadow doppelgangers appeared next to Xingyu. This is the star feather control did not separate too many shadow doppelgangers, otherwise there is no problem for Xingyu to divide thousands of shadow doppelgangers. Go and work. Xingyu commanded his shadow doppelganger to work, and not far away looked at the dozens of shadow doppelgangers separated by Xingyu, and they were stunned. Not only the Rope Tree, but even Asakawa Kami Shinobu was stunned, because he couldn't tell so many shadow doppelgangers. No, Shinobu Asakawa does not know the technique of multiple shadow avatars at all. Yes, why didn't I think of this? Jioshinai patted his head, secretly scolding himself for being so stupid. He couldn't even think of this, how good it is to use a shadow avatar. Why bother to come by himself? Then Jioshinai also used multiple shadow avatars, and there were more than a dozen shadow avatars separated by Jioshinai. No way, Chakrato is so willful. Why do you all have ninjutsu? Rope Tree couldn't help but ask. Rope Tree, don't say that you don't even know a ninjutsu, then I don't mind laughing at you. Xingyu looked at the Rope Tree and said, I do know ninjutsu, but I don't know the art of shadow doppelganger. Rope Tree said depressedly. Rope Tree can have several C-level ninjutsu, but he hasn't learned the art of shadow avatars yet. Don't be depressed by the Rope Tree. In fact, you are a little worse than me. Work hard, you will catch up with me in the future. Xingyu patted Rope Tree's shoulder and encouraged Rope Tree. What are you doing almost that big? Rope Tree looked at the star feather, who gestured with his hands, and couldn't help but say faintly, don't care about these details, try to catch up with my back, although you can't even see my back, but people must have dreams, what if they come true? I can't help but want to hit you right now. Rope Tree clenched his fists. How did he feel that this guy Vortex Star Feather was getting more and more angry? Come on, do it, you can't beat me anyway. Xingyu said with a smile. I don't believe it. Rope Tree said, suddenly sneaking towards Xingyu. His fist hit Xingyu. He really couldn't bear it, he had to give Xingyu a little color. Then, I saw the body of the Rope Tree flying out, planting green onions upside down on the ground. Its head was inserted into the soil, and its limbs were constantly shaking. Xingyu walked over, pulled out the Rope Tree like a turnip, and asked the Rope Tree whose face was full of dirt, do you believe it now? Xingyu, Why are you so powerful after graduation? Is there any secret? Rope Tree asked towards Hoshiyu. I've always been strong, but you just didn't notice it.